I was holding on to not only past versions of myself, but also past things that I accumulated over the years. And this really weighed me down and stressed me out. 4 years ago, I decided to declutter and downsize, and it was both difficult and amazing. There's a real freedom that comes with decluttering your life, and it's not just about letting go of unnecessary stuff. It's something that I'm doing, and I wouldn't call myself an extreme minimalist. I think I'm minimalish, if we can put it on a spectrum. Hi, I'm Dana from Dana Find Well, and I'm here to help you find wellness after 50. So today I'm sharing 25 things I've let go of to declutter my life. I hope it inspires you to make changes that feel right for you too. 1. I no longer save every sentimental item. Sentimental items are one of the hardest things to let go of. But I now recognize that I won't lose the memory that's tied with the item because I don't need these items in order to keep those memories. For example, my daughter's artwork and schoolwork when they were young. There was so much of it. When my daughters didn't want any of it anymore, I went through it all and kept the best pieces. I took pictures of certain pieces over the years, and now I have a manageable amount, and my absolute favorites are framed and displayed. 2. I cut back on keeping things for just in case. For years, I held on to things because of the dreaded just in case scenario. What if I might need this one day? But let's be real. How often do we actually need those things? You know, things like cooking gadgets, panini maker, waffle makers, bundt pan, cupcake holder. And what about fancy dresses? I don't go to fancy places, so I don't need these kinds of garments. Fancy dresses just take up valuable space in my closet, and it feels like I'm holding on to a past version of myself. Which is actually a good point because those dresses no longer fit me. It's much better to donate them and thrift a fancy dress if I ever need one. 3. I don't have to be like everyone else. For me, this one is clearing out mental clutter. In high school, I was considered a rebel, and back then I didn't like this label because I just wanted to be like everyone else. But now I realize it's okay to be me. I can like the things that I like, have my own opinions, like the people I like, do what I enjoy, and maybe being a little rebellious is a good thing. I don't need to put on all those different personas I had when I was younger. You know, like the rebellious teenager, the funky art student, the perfect mom and wife, the trendy graphic designer, or the career-driven art director. At my age, I'm comfortable being in my own skin, and that brings so much mental clarity. If there's anything you get out of this video, I want you to know that you are wonderful and that you don't have to be like anyone else. 4. Stop displaying a lot of mementos. I realized a lot of my displayed mementos felt more like clutter than meaningful decor. Now I keep just a few special pieces on display and store the rest out of sight. It makes the space feel lighter, and I actually notice and appreciate the few items I keep out. 5. I don't have to buy the latest trendy clothes. I've learned that classic, well-made pieces last so much longer and save me money in the long run. So I look for these pieces when I go thrifting. And honestly, by skipping trends, I feel like I'm developing my own unique style, something that feels timeless and true to me. 6. Stop making fancy, complicated meals. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the kitchen. And back in my younger days, I would try to make all these fancy dishes. And, at that point in time, that was great for me. But now I don't want to try to impress anyone. I'm not having tons of people over for dinner. And I'm just trying to make food that's healthy and keeps me from going out and spending extra money. So if I keep making the same simple dishes that I always make, it's so much easier for me to fit it in and actually cook at home. 7, stop trying to please everyone all the time. People pleasing can be exhausting, and over time, I noticed it left me feeling resentful and burnt out. So now I ask myself, am I doing this out of guilt or obligation, or is it something I really want to do? That question alone has helped me prioritize my own needs and maintain healthier boundaries. 8, get rid of FOMO, or the fear of missing out. So I don't have to go to trendy restaurants, trips with girlfriends or family, or buy the latest technology. I'm getting rid of FOMO, and I really want to be happy with who I am and the life that I've made for myself. So if I can focus on that and not feel like I'm missing out, I feel like I'm in a lot healthier mental space. 9, I quit losing my keys. So this might sound silly, but it's a big one for me. I used to constantly lose my keys because I didn't have a set place for them. Now I use my Ariel Kitty's dish right by the door. It does 2 things. 1, I always know where my keys are. And 2, every day I'm reminded of my sweet Ariel Kitty and how important she was to me. 10, I don't stay inside all day. When I'm indoors working on my computer for hours, I feel boxed in. My mind feels cluttered. I start to get an anxious feeling, which tells me I need to go outside. I feel instantly better taking a walk, feeling the sun and the wind on my face. It's such a free, open feeling. And my dog Sven is happy, which makes me happy too. I also look forward to my daily trip to the post office or other errands that I need to do. It's so nice to get out and see or talk to people, even if it's just to say hello. 11, stop filling every empty space. In one of my videos, I mentioned the Japanese concept of ma, which is finding beauty in empty space. I realized that giving objects space around them makes me appreciate each item so much more than if I added a whole bunch of things and grouped them all together. This is just my own personal preference, and I do see beauty in maximalist design. It's just not an aesthetic that I gravitate towards. 12, I quit setting unrealistic goals for myself. I've learned that setting overly ambitious or unrealistic goals only leads to frustration and disappointment when I can't meet them. Now, I try to focus on smaller, achievable goals that build towards something bigger over time. For example, instead of saying, I'm going to organize my whole entire house in one day, I break it into smaller tasks. Maybe it's just one drawer, one shelf, or one room at a time. Progress feels much more manageable, and it motivates me to keep going. 13, I don't leave clutter on my computer for too long. It's so easy to forget about digital clutter, but it can feel just as overwhelming as physical clutter. Cleaning up my desktop and getting rid of unimportant emails really helps me feel more organized and productive. I try to tidy up my digital spaces at least once a week. I also make a habit of creating folders to organize important files so everything has a place. Because I'm not paying for any cloud storage, I work off of and store my files on external hard drives. A clean computer is like a clean desk. It just feels good. 14. Stop buying things new and focus on secondhand items. Shopping secondhand isn't just easier on your wallet, it's better for the planet too. For example, extending the life of clothing by just 9 months reduces its environmental impact by 20 to 30%. Plus, the fashion industry is responsible for around 10% of global carbon emissions and nearly 20% of wastewater production. When I buy secondhand, I'm helping to slow down the cycle of fast fashion, reduce waste, and conserve valuable resources. Since I'm a professional thrifter, I come across amazing items every time I source for new inventory. A couple of great finds recently. One is this Madewell sweater that I'm keeping for myself, and a vintage Valentino gown that I sold for $685. Both items cost me around $3 each. 15. Stop working long hours. I used to think working long hours meant I was being productive, but now I see the value in balance. I put in years of long, hard hours trying to get promoted to make more money. But now that I'm close to retirement age, I see that having a rich life is more than just having a lot of money. Having a rich life means that I have the freedom to explore things that I'm interested in, work the hours that I want to work, and spend more time with family, friends, or just hang out with my dog Sven. Next month, I'll be watching my grandbaby Malia 3.5 days a week for 1 to 2 months. This will be an interesting time for me because I'll be trying to balance all of these things that are going on in my life. I'll definitely keep you posted. 16. Cut out products with lots of chemicals. I've started paying more attention to the products I bring into my home, like cleaning supplies, skincare, and even candles. Many of them are packed with unnecessary chemicals that can be harsh on the environment and on our health. Switching to more natural alternatives like vinegar for cleaning or skincare products with simple, recognizable ingredients has made me feel good about reducing the toxins in my life. It doesn't have to be an overnight change. I've been replacing things gradually as I use up the old ones. Also, many natural options are more affordable and DIY friendly. 17. Stop bringing home stuff just because it was cheap or free. This was a big one for me as a thrifter. It's so tempting to bring something home just because it's a great deal or that I found it free. But I've realized that cheap or free doesn't mean useful or necessary. Now I ask myself, do I actually need this? Does it serve a purpose or bring me joy? If the answer is no, I leave it behind. It's a habit that's helped me keep unnecessary clutter out of my home. 18. Cut back on processed foods. Cutting back on processed foods has been a big focus for me. These convenience items are often loaded with preservatives, added sugars, and bad oils, which can damage my health over time. Instead, I've tried to stick with simple, whole ingredients like fresh fruits and veggies, good fats, and protein. I'm still not perfect. I still indulge every so often, and I also still use ready-made sauces for my quick meals. But cooking at home has made me feel more in control of what I'm eating. A fun analogy is that processed foods are like clutter, filled with way too many unhealthy ingredients. And whole foods are fresh and simple. So here's a helpful tip. Having a few healthy snacks available makes it easier to avoid reaching for packaged foods when I'm busy. 19. I avoid subscriptions to unnecessary things. A sneaky source of clutter I've noticed is digital subscriptions. It's so easy to sign up for something and forget about it. I regularly go through my accounts and cancel anything I'm not actively using. 20. Get rid of all the extras. I recently decluttered my under-bed storage and I got rid of years and years of mismatched bedding. Now I only have a couple of sets of sheets that I love and use regularly. It's so refreshing to see my storage area neat and organized. 21. I quit doing things only when I feel like it. It's so tempting to procrastinate, but I've learned that tackling tasks head-on feels so much better than letting them linger. Doing things that are hard or boring is important. We can build good habits that make these things automatic. For example, I always make my bed, drink water first thing in the morning, and take walks during the day. Starting my day with small wins sets the tone for the rest of the day. 22. Stop trying to be the best at everything. Okay, here's an example. If I tried to be the best at drumming, I would be disappointed, stressed out, and frustrated. Instead, it's important to understand my limitations. I don't have a lot of time to practice drumming. I also have never had any formal music lessons or really played an instrument, except for teaching myself to play the ukulele. I've embraced being a beginner, especially with hobbies like taiko drumming. It's not about being the best. It's about having fun, staying active, and learning something new. At 60, I've realized that perfection is overrated. This stage of my life has helped me change my perspective about trying to be the best at everything. For me, life is too short to be stressed out about certain things. 23. Overconsuming information. Sometimes we think gathering more information will solve our problems, but it often just adds to overwhelm. I'm learning to consume less and take more action instead. As I'm brainstorming and researching for my videos, I don't listen to anything. Even music can be distracting for me. And when I'm working on my thrifting business, I try to listen to music or podcasts rather than watching videos. Watching videos can be very distracting. And I reward myself with screen time when I'm all done with a work task or at the end of the day. 24. Stop trying to get quick results. Whether it's fitness, YouTube, or even decluttering, quick fixes rarely work. It's about showing up consistently and being patient with the process. I've been doing YouTube for over 2 years. If I expected that my channel would instantly blow up, I would have given up a long time ago and felt bad about myself. In order for me to stick with it, I've focused on trying to get better and enjoy the process rather than just focusing on results. Rather than quick results, I find it's important to make small improvements over time. 25. Stop bringing in clutter. This year, I've committed to a low buy year to keep unnecessary clutter out of my life. Not only because of inflation and how much everything costs, but overconsuming won't make me happier and make my life better. One tool that's helping me stick to it is my no-buy diary. Whenever I feel the urge to buy something, I write it down instead of purchasing it right away. Later, I revisit the list and reflect on how I didn't actually need those things. And I get to see how much money I saved by not buying them. It's been such an eye-opener for how impulsive purchases really can add up. Plus, it helps me focus on what really matters and avoid filling my space with items I don't actually need. After decluttering and gaining extra space, I don't want to bring in new clutter. This is also a great way to save money and spend less. Decluttering my life has been about so much more than just getting rid of stuff. It's about letting go of what no longer serves me so I can make room for what does. I really hope these 25 things inspire you to start your own decluttering journey wherever you are in life. Let me know in the comments, what's one thing you've quit to simplify your life? I'd love to hear from you. If you're looking for more personal growth tips, check out my Starting Over playlist. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you find wellness today and every day. See you next time.